The message arrived on a Tuesday. It came not through any known communication channel, but directly into the secure systems of Earth's diplomatic center in Geneva. The AI security protocols went crazy, then suddenly calmed as the message translated itself into every human language simultaneously. Ambassador Alan Wright was enjoying his morning coffee when his assistant burst into the office. The young man's face was pale, his hands shaking as he held out a tablet. "Sir, you need to see this now." Alan took the device, his eyes widening as he read. After 30 years in diplomatic service, he thought nothing could surprise him. He was wrong. "Get me the Secretary General," he said quietly, "and alert Mars Colony. This changes everything." 3 days later, the UES Horizon prepared for departure from Earth's orbital dock. Captain Samantha Reeves stood on the bridge, watching the final preparations through the massive view screen. At 42, she had spent more than half her life in space, commanding everything from small research vessels to massive colony ships. But this mission was different. This would make history. "Pre-flight checks complete, Captain," reported her first officer, Lieutenant Commander Paul Bennett. "All systems green." Samantha nodded. "Status on our special passengers. All aboard and settled. Ambassador Wright is reviewing his notes. Major Porter is inspecting our security protocols, and Dr. Martinez is, well, she's practically bouncing off the walls with excitement." Samantha smiled despite her nerves. Olivia Martinez was the world's leading xenobiologist, but she had the enthusiasm of a child. The thought of meeting actual aliens had her running on pure adrenaline. "Captain," Paul's voice pulled her back to the present. "The Secretary General is requesting final confirmation." Samantha straightened her uniform. "Put her through." The screen shifted to show the face of Secretary General Diana Winters. Her expression was serious, but Samantha could see the wonder in her eyes. "Captain Reeves, you carry the hopes and future of humanity with you. Are you prepared for this responsibility?" "We are, Madam Secretary." "Then you are cleared for departure. The coordinates provided in the alien message have been verified as best we can. It will take you 3 weeks to reach the designated meeting point at the edge of our solar system. From there, we simply don't know." Samantha nodded. "We'll be ready for whatever awaits us." "Godspeed, Captain. Make us proud." The screen returned to the view of Earth, beautiful and blue against the blackness of space. For a moment, Samantha allowed herself to feel the weight of this mission. Humanity had dreamed of this moment for centuries. First contact with an alien civilization. Not just any aliens, but a galactic council that wanted to welcome Earth into its fold. It seemed too good to be true. Major Gregory Porter certainly thought so. The military strategist joined her on the bridge, his face locked in its usual serious expression. "All due respect, Captain, but this could still be an elaborate trap." "Noted, Major. That's why you're here." "The Galactic Council," he said, testing the words. "Led by someone called High Counselor Vexthor. Sounds like something from a science fiction story. And yet here we are, about to meet them." Dr. Olivia Martinez entered the bridge, her eyes bright with excitement. "Can you believe it? 27 different species according to the message. 27 unique biologies, cultures, histories." She clutched her tablet to her chest. "I've been studying the limited biological data they sent. It's fascinating." Samantha shared a look with Gregory. The contrast between the scientist's enthusiasm and the soldier's caution perfectly captured humanity's dual nature, curious yet careful, hopeful yet prepared. "Take us out, Mr. Bennett," Samantha ordered. Standard departure protocol. The massive engines of the UES Horizon hummed to life. On the view screen, Earth grew smaller as they pulled away from the orbital dock. Ambassador Alan Wright joined them, watching his home planet recede. "Beautiful, isn't it?" he said softly. "Yes, sir," Samantha replied. "And worth protecting." The Horizon accelerated, carrying its crew toward humanity's greatest adventure, or perhaps its greatest challenge. None of them could have guessed that one council member named Dravenok was already plotting against the humans he had never met, or that his actions would lead his entire planet to regret ever hearing the word Earth. The UES horizon emerged from its final jump point exactly where the coordinates had specified. Before them floated a structure so vast it seemed impossible, a massive ring-shaped space station that glittered like a jewel against the darkness. "My God," whispered Ambassador Wright. After 3 weeks of travel, they had reached their destination. It must be the size of a small moon. Captain Reeves checked her instruments. "We're receiving a transmission. They're sending docking instructions." On the screen, a being appeared. Its skin was pale blue with silver markings across a high forehead. The alien's 4 eyes blinked in sequence as it spoke, its words translated by the system the Council had provided. "Greetings, people of Earth. I am Zillith, assistant to High Counselor Vexthor. Please follow the guide lights to your designated docking bay. The Council awaits you." The transmission ended, and small lights appeared outside, forming a path toward the station. "Well," said Dr. Martinez, her voice filled with awe, "shall we follow the yellow brick road?" Major Porter frowned. "Captain, I recommend caution." "We should." "Noted, Major," Samantha said, "but we didn't come all this way to sit in space staring. Mr. Bennett, take us in." Slow approach, all sensors active. As the horizon moved toward the station, they passed ships of every imaginable design. Some were sleek and seemed to glow from within. Others were rough, covered in what looked like scales or plates. A few were so strange the humans couldn't tell which end was front. 27 species, Ellen said quietly, each with their own technology, their own way of seeing the universe. The docking procedure went smoothly. When the airlock opened, Zillith was waiting with 2 other aliens of different species. One was tall and thin with gray skin that seemed almost transparent. The other was shorter than the average human, with features that reminded Samantha of an otter. "Welcome to Council Station," Zillith said with a gesture that might have been a bow. "If you will follow me, the Council has gathered for your arrival." The human delegation followed, with security officers trailing behind as agreed. They walked through corridors filled with beings of all shapes and sizes. Some nodded respectfully, others stared openly. A few turned away as if disgusted. "Not everyone is happy to see us," Gregory whispered to Samantha. "Did you expect a parade?" she replied. They entered an enormous chamber. Curved rows of seats rose in tiers, each occupied by different alien representatives. At the center was a raised platform where 7 beings sat in ornate chairs. "The High Council," explained Zillith. "They represent the founding species of our alliance." High Counselor Vexthor rose from the central seat. He was tall, with skin that shifted colors like an octopus as he moved. "Humans of Earth," his voice boomed throughout the chamber, "we welcome you to the galactic community." The ceremony that followed was formal but friendly. Ambassador Wright presented gifts from Earth, art, music, and scientific knowledge. Most council members seemed impressed, asking thoughtful questions about human culture and history. But one counselor remained silent, watching with cold eyes. His skin was deep red, covered in black ridges that formed patterns across his face and hands. When finally he spoke, his voice was like gravel. "These humans seem quite proud of their little achievements," he said. "Tell me, Ambassador, how many worlds have your people conquered?" Ellen looked confused. "None, Counselor. We have settled Mars and established outposts elsewhere in our system. But we don't conquer." The red alien laughed, a harsh sound that echoed in the chamber. "How quaint. I am Dravnak of the Krell Empire. Perhaps when you have existed in space as long as we have, you will understand that expansion requires sacrifice." An uncomfortable silence fell over the chamber. Several council members shifted in their seats. "We look forward to learning from all members of the council," Alan replied diplomatically. Later, as the human delegation was shown to their quarters, Dr. Martinez approached Gregory. "Did you see how the other council members reacted when Dravnak spoke?" "There's tension there." Gregory nodded. "And did you notice? When the counselor from Teleris mentioned military capability, Dravnok's aides looked at each other. Something's not right. In his private chambers, Dravnok was meeting with his advisors. "These humans are weak," he growled. "They will be easy to manipulate. Begin the next phase. Let's see how they respond to a little pressure." His advisors bowed and left, not noticing the small maintenance drone in the corner, a drone that happened to be transmitting directly to Major Porter's secure tablet. The UES horizon emerged from its final jump point exactly where the coordinates had specified. Before them floated a structure so vast it seemed impossible, a massive ring-shaped space station that glittered like a jewel against the darkness. "My God," whispered Ambassador Wright. After 3 weeks of travel, they had reached their destination. It must be the size of a small moon. Captain Reeves checked her instruments. "We're receiving a transmission. They're sending docking instructions." On the screen, a being appeared. Its skin was pale blue with silver markings across a high forehead. The alien's 4 eyes blinked in sequence as it spoke, its words translated by the system the Council had provided. "Greetings, people of Earth. I am Zillith, Assistant to High Counselor Vexthor. Please follow the guide lights to your designated docking bay. The Council awaits you." The transmission ended, and small lights appeared outside, forming a path toward the station. "Well," said Dr. Martinez, her voice filled with awe. "Shall we follow the yellow brick road?" Major Porter frowned. "Captain, I recommend caution." "We should." "Noted, Major," Samantha said, "but we didn't come all this way to sit in space staring." "Mr. Bennett, take us in." Slow approach, all sensors active. As the horizon moved toward the station, they passed ships of every imaginable design. Some were sleek and seemed to glow from within. Others were rough, covered in what looked like scales or plates. A few were so strange the humans couldn't tell which end was front. 27 species, Alan said quietly, each with their own technology, their own way of seeing the universe. The docking procedure went smoothly. When the airlock opened, Zillith was waiting with 2 other aliens of different species. One was tall and thin with gray skin that seemed almost transparent. The other was shorter than the average human, with features that reminded Samantha of an otter. "Welcome to Council Station," Zillith said with a gesture that might have been a bow. "If you will follow me, the Council has gathered for your arrival." The human delegation followed, with security officers trailing behind as agreed. They walked through corridors filled with beings of all shapes and sizes. Some nodded respectfully, others stared openly. A few turned away as if disgusted. "Not everyone is happy to see us," Gregory whispered to Samantha. "Did you expect a parade?" she replied. They entered an enormous chamber. Curved rows of seats rose in tiers, each occupied by different alien representatives. At the center was a raised platform where 7 beings sat in ornate chairs. "The High Council," explained Zillith. "They represent the founding species of our alliance." High Counselor Vexthor rose from the central seat. He was tall, with skin that shifted colors like an octopus as he moved. "Humans of Earth," his voice boomed throughout the chamber, "we welcome you to the galactic community." The ceremony that followed was formal but friendly. Ambassador Wright presented gifts from Earth, art, music, and scientific knowledge. Most council members seemed impressed, asking thoughtful questions about human culture and history. But one counselor remained silent, watching with cold eyes. His skin was deep red, covered in black ridges that formed patterns across his face and hands. When finally he spoke, his voice was like gravel. "These humans seem quite proud of their little achievements," he said. "Tell me, Ambassador, how many worlds have your people conquered?" Ellen looked confused. "None, Counselor. We have settled Mars and established outposts elsewhere in our system, but we don't conquer." The red alien laughed, a harsh sound that echoed in the chamber. "How quaint. I am Dravnok of the Krell Empire. Perhaps when you have existed in space as long as we have, you will understand that expansion requires sacrifice." An uncomfortable silence fell over the chamber. Several council members shifted in their seats. We look forward to learning from all members of the Council, Ellen replied diplomatically. Later, as the human delegation was shown to their quarters, Dr. Martinez approached Gregory. Did you see how the other council members reacted when Dravenok spoke? There's tension there. Gregory nodded. And did you notice? When the counselor from Teleris mentioned military capability, Dravenok's aides looked at each other. Something's not right. In his private chambers, Dravenok was meeting with his advisors. These humans are weak, he growled. They will be easy to manipulate. Begin the next phase. Let's see how they respond to a little pressure. His advisors bowed and left, not noticing the small maintenance drone in the corner, a drone that happened to be transmitting directly to Major Porter's secure tablet. Ambassador Alan Wright stood before the council, his face showing none of the turmoil he felt inside. 3 days had passed since Dravenok's accusations. 3 days of urgent communications with Earth, of strategy meetings, of preparation. Honorable council members, Alan began, his voice calm and measured. I thank you for allowing us time to consider our response. Earth has heard the concerns raised by Councillor Dravenok. He paused, looking directly at the Krell representative. We do not accept his accusations, nor his demands. However, we propose an alternative. A joint inspection team from neutral council races may visit our solar system to verify we have no banned weapons. Dravenok's scales darkened with anger. Unacceptable. The humans seek only to delay while they hide evidence. Vexthor raised a hand for silence. Ambassador Wright, your proposal seems reasonable, but I sense there is more to your request. Yes, High Counselor. Captain Reeves will return to Earth with our ship to prepare for the inspection team and consult further with our government. The rest of our delegation will remain here as a show of good faith. Murmurs spread through the chamber. No one had expected this compromise. Vexthor nodded slowly. The Council accepts your proposal. Captain Reeves may depart immediately. The inspection team will be assembled from volunteering neutral parties. Dravenok stood abruptly. The Krell Empire protests this decision. These humans are clearly stalling. Your protest is noted, Counselor, Vexthor replied coolly. But the Council has decided. Later, as the human delegation returned to their quarters, Major Porter pulled Alan aside. Sir, are you sure about this? Splitting our team could be dangerous. It was Earth's decision, not mine. Ellen replied. And Samantha won't be going alone. You're going with her. Gregory looked surprised. Me? But my place is here, protecting you and the others. Your place is where Earth needs you most. Right now, that's back home. Ellen handed him a small data device. Make sure this reaches Admiral Daniels directly. No one else. 2 hours later, the UES Horizon departed from the Council station. Captain Reeves stood on the bridge, watching the massive structure grow smaller on the view screen. Course set for Earth, Captain, reported Lieutenant Commander Bennett. Thank you, Paul. Standard speed until we're clear of Council space. Major Porter entered the bridge, his expression grim. The data from Ambassador Wright is heavily encrypted. Whatever it contains, it's important enough to send us racing home. You don't know what it is. No, and maybe that's safer for now. 3 days later, the Horizon arrived at Earth. A high-security shuttle transported Samantha and Gregory directly to the United Earth Government headquarters in Geneva. They were immediately escorted to a secure conference room where Admiral Lisa Daniels and General Howard Sullivan were waiting. Welcome back, Admiral Daniels said, her steel-gray hair cut short around a face lined with years of responsibility. I understand you bring sensitive information. Gregory handed over the data device. From Ambassador Wright, for your eyes only, Admiral. Lisa inserted the device into a secure terminal. The screen filled with data, images, and recordings. As she reviewed them, her expression hardened. How long have we known about this? She asked. Known about what? Samantha questioned. The Admiral turned the screen so everyone could see. We've been monitoring Krell communications since you first arrived at the Council station. The screen showed intercepted messages between Dravnak and his government, plans for military movements, and detailed scans of Earth's defenses. But that's impossible, Gregory said. The Krell use encrypted quantum channels. No one can intercept those. General Sullivan, a stocky man with a perpetual frown, allowed himself a small smile. No one except humans, apparently. Our scientists cracked their encryption within hours of your first transmission. Why didn't you tell us? Samantha demanded. Security. Lissa replied simply. We needed to know their true intentions before deciding how to respond. She pointed to a section of data. The Krell aren't just making diplomatic threats. They're preparing for war. Dravnak never expected us to agree to anything. He's been looking for an excuse to attack. Then sending the Horizon back was a distraction, Gregory realized. What's our plan? Admiral Daniels stood up. Two-pronged approach. First, you return to the Council with our official diplomatic response. Full cooperation, openness, peaceful intentions. Second, her eyes narrowed. We send Lieutenant Eric Mason to gather concrete evidence of the Krell's true plans. Mason, the Special Forces operative? Samantha asked. The very same, General Sullivan confirmed. While you play nice in the council chambers, Mason will be infiltrating Krell networks and finding the proof we need to expose Dravnak. It's a dangerous game, Lisa acknowledged. But we didn't come this far as a species by backing down from bullies. Lieutenant Eric Mason moved through the shadows of Krell Space Station, Hay-17, like he was born to it. 6 days had passed since he left Earth on a stealth ship that officially didn't exist. His mission was simple but dangerous. Find proof of Dravnak's real plans. The Krell guards never saw him. Their security systems, advanced as they were, couldn't detect the nanofiber suit that bent light around him. Human technology had made remarkable advances in the century since first discovering faster-than-light travel. The Krell, it seemed, had grown complacent. Eric reached the central data hub and placed a small device on the wall. It melted into the surface, becoming invisible. Now he just had to wait. Meanwhile, back at the council station, the UES Horizon had returned. Captain Reeves and Major Porter rejoined the human delegation with Earth's official response. Full cooperation with the inspection team. Dr. Martinez had been busy during their absence. She entered Samantha's quarters, barely containing her excitement. I've made friends, she said, her eyes bright. Lots of friends from different species. And they talk. A lot. What have you learned? Samantha asked. The Krell have been bullying smaller council races for centuries. They lost a major battle against the Viridian Alliance 6 months ago. Thousands of Krell ships destroyed. Their military reputation is in shambles. Gregory nodded. So they need an easy victory to save face. Exactly. And what could be easier than defeating primitive humans who just discovered space travel? Olivia's smile was sharp. But here's the interesting part. I've been talking with scientists from various worlds. When I described some of our basic technology, they seemed impressed. How impressed? Samantha asked. Some of our medical techniques are centuries ahead of theirs. Our quantum computing is more advanced than anything the Krell have. And our stealth technology. They thought I was joking. Gregory leaned forward. Are you saying we're more advanced than we thought? Not exactly. We're differently advanced. We took different paths. The Krell focused on weapons and brute force. Others specialized in biology or energy production. Humans, we're generalists. We developed everything in parallel. On the Krell homeworld of Travaxis, Eric Mason had hit the jackpot. The data device had transmitted everything from the station's computers directly to his secure tablet. He reviewed the information in his hidden ship, shocked by what he found. The Krell had already sent a stealth fleet toward Earth. They planned to attack regardless of the Council's decision. But that wasn't all. The tablet showed details of a massive weapons facility on Travaxis itself, one that violated at least 12 Council treaties. Eric encrypted the data and sent it through a quantum channel that Admiral Daniels had assured him was undetectable. Then he made a bold decision. Instead of returning to Earth, he would go to Travaxis. If the weapons facility was real, the Council needed physical proof. Back at the Council station, Ambassador Wright received word that the inspection team was ready to depart for Earth. But as they prepared to make the announcement, Dr. Martinez burst into his quarters. "Ambassador, you need to see this." She thrust a tablet into his hands. On it was data about the Krell weapons facility, sent by Lieutenant Mason via Earth. "Is this verified?" Alan asked sharply. Earth confirmed it. "Admiral Daniels says it's solid. They're preparing a response now." Alan studied the information, his diplomatic mind racing. "This changes everything. If we reveal this during the next council session, Dravenok will be exposed." Samantha finished for him. "But what about the fleet heading toward Earth?" "Earth is prepared," Gregory assured them. "But we need to handle this carefully. If we embarrass Dravenok publicly, he might order an immediate attack." Alan's eyes narrowed. "Then we don't embarrass him. We destroy him." He looked at his team. "I'm going to request an emergency council session. We'll reveal everything we know, but present it as concern for council security, not as an accusation." "And Lieutenant Mason?" Olivia asked. "He's on his own for now," Samantha said quietly. "But from what I know of him, that's exactly how he works best." On Travaxis, Eric Mason slipped through the perimeter of the massive weapons facility. What he found inside made him pause in shock. The Krell weren't just building normal weapons. They were developing planet killers, weapons designed to destroy entire worlds. "Earth needs to know," he whispered, activating his recorder. "The Council needs to know." He didn't realize that his actions had already triggered silent alarms. Deep in the facility, Krell security forces began to mobilize. As diplomatic tensions grew at the Council station, something more dangerous was happening in space. The Krell fleet continued its silent approach toward Earth, unaware they were being watched. Admiral Lisa Daniels stood on the bridge of the EDS Defender, Earth's newest and most advanced warship. 3 companion vessels, the Valiant, the Guardian, and the Sentinel, maintained formation around her. All 4 ships were using stealth technology that the Krell didn't know humans possessed. "Status report," Lisa ordered. "All systems nominal," Admiral replied her second-in-command, Captain Frank Rivera. "The Krell fleet is still on course for Earth. They have no idea we're here." The Admiral nodded. "Position our ships at these coordinates." She sent data to the tactical officer. "I want us surrounding them when we reveal ourselves." "Yes, Mom." Lisa looked at the tactical display showing the Krell fleet, 15 warships in arrow formation. Under normal circumstances, such a force would overwhelm Earth's defenses. But these weren't normal circumstances. "Any word from Lieutenant Mason?" she asked. "Not since his last transmission about the weapons facility," Frank replied. "He's gone dark, as expected." On Travaxis, Eric Mason was in trouble. He'd managed to collect critical evidence about the illegal weapons, but Krell security forces had detected his presence. Now he was trapped in a maintenance tunnel, listening to search parties moving above him. He checked his equipment. The data was secure, but he needed to get off-planet. His small stealth ship was hidden in the mountains 10 miles away. Getting there would be nearly impossible with the entire facility on alert. Then he had an idea. He wasn't here just to gather evidence, but to plant it as well. He reached into his pack and removed several data chips. These contained carefully crafted information that implicated Dravenok in numerous crimes against other Council species. If he couldn't escape, he could at least complete that part of his mission. Eric began crawling through the maintenance tunnel, searching for access to the facility's main computer core. Back at the Council station, Ambassador Wright stood before the assembled representatives, his face solemn. "Honorable Council members, I come before you today not with accusations, but with concerns for our shared security." He nodded to Dr. Martinez, who activated the main display. Images of the Krell weapons facility appeared on screen. Gasps echoed through the chamber. These images were discovered during routine data analysis. Alan continued smoothly. We believe they show a facility on Dravaxis that may be producing weapons prohibited by Council law. Dravenok jumped to his feet. This is outrageous. These images are fake. Are they? Alan asked calmly. Then surely the Krell would welcome a Council inspection team to confirm that. Vexthor leaned forward. Councillor Dravenok, these images are disturbing. If they are false, as you claim, an inspection would clear your people of suspicion. The Krell Empire does not submit to inspections. Dravenok snarled. This is a human trick to distract from their own violations. Several council members began talking at once. Alan noticed with satisfaction that many were looking at Dravenok with new suspicion. The High Counselor raised his hands for silence. This is a serious matter. I propose we form an emergency committee to investigate these claims. While you investigate, Alan said, I must also inform the Council that we have detected a Krell fleet on course for Earth. We believe they intend to attack, regardless of this body's decisions. The chamber erupted into chaos. Vexthor struggled to maintain order. This is absurd. Dravenok shouted. Where is your proof? As if on cue, Major Porter's tablet lit up with a transmission. Ambassador, he said urgently, Admiral Daniels reports the Krell fleet has crossed the boundary of our solar system. Alan turned to the Council. We have just received word that Krell warships have entered Earth space, despite ongoing negotiations here. Several Council members immediately offered military support to Earth. The representatives from Teleris, Myriad, and even the powerful Viridian Alliance stood to pledge their assistance. Dravenok's face darkened with rage. He pressed a device on his wrist, presumably sending orders to his fleet. What he didn't know was that at that very moment, the small human task force led by Admiral Daniels was revealing itself, surrounding the Krell ships in a perfect ambush position. On Dravaxis, Eric Mason finally reached the computer core. He had minutes, perhaps seconds, before he was discovered. He inserted the data chips, set them to activate on a timer, and began searching for an escape route. The evidence he planted would soon broadcast to every ship in the Krell fleet, revealing years of Dravenok's secret crimes against his own allies. In the cold darkness of space near Earth, Admiral Daniels gave the order. All ships, reveal yourselves. Open communication channels to the Krell fleet. The 4 human vessels dropped their stealth fields, suddenly appearing on Krell sensors in perfect positions around the enemy fleet. The EDS Defender slid directly in front of the lead Krell warship, blocking its path. On the main Krell battleship, Commander Vraktor stared at his sensor display in disbelief. Impossible. Where did they come from? How did they know we were here? His second officer worked frantically at the controls. Human vessels are hailing us, Commander. Vraktor growled. Put them on screen. Admiral Daniels' face appeared, her expression calm but firm. Krell vessels, this is Admiral Lisa Daniels of Earth Defense Forces. You have entered Earth space without permission during ongoing diplomatic negotiations. Power down your weapons and explain your presence, or we will consider this an act of war. Vraktor laughed. 4 ships against 15. You're either brave or foolish, human. We have orders from Counselor Dravenok himself to secure this system. I'm aware of your orders, Lisa replied coolly. I'm also aware that you're violating at least 7 Council treaties by being here. We've already notified the Council of your presence. Vraktor hesitated. Something about the human's confidence disturbed him. You should know that more Krell ships are on their way. You cannot hope to defeat us. Perhaps not, Lisa agreed. But we don't need to defeat you. We only need to expose you. At that moment, back in the Council chamber, the evidence of the Krell fleet's location was displayed for all representatives to see. The images showed the human ships facing off against the much larger Krell force. As you can see, Ambassador Wright said calmly, the Krell have sent a battle fleet to Earth while pretending to negotiate in good faith. Dravenok was surrounded by angry council members. His lies were unraveling quickly. He pressed his wrist device again, sending new orders to his fleet. Attack now. Destroy them all. But his transmission was interrupted by another signal that cut across all Krell communications. Lieutenant Mason had succeeded in his mission. The data chips he planted were now active, broadcasting evidence of Dravenok's crimes directly to every Krell ship and base. On the Krell flagship, Commander Vraktor watched in shock as his screen filled with documents, recordings, and images showing years of Dravenok's treachery. The Counselor had been stealing resources from allied worlds, arranging accidents for political rivals, and even planning attacks on other council members. "Commander," his communications officer said urgently, "we're receiving messages from our other ships. The crews are questioning orders." Vraktor stared at the evidence before him. He had served the Empire loyally for decades, believing in its superiority. Now he saw the corruption at its heart. The humans knew, he realized aloud. They knew what Dravenok was doing and set a trap. He looked up at Admiral Daniels, still waiting on the view screen. They could have attacked us by surprise, but chose to talk first. On Dravaxis, Eric Mason had found his escape route. As alarms blared throughout the weapons facility, he slipped through an exhaust vent and began the long journey toward his hidden ship. Behind him, the data continued to spread, not just to the fleet, but to every Krell communication device on the planet. In the council chamber, Dravenok realized he was doomed. Several security officers from different species were moving toward him. Vex Thor was receiving urgent messages, his color changing rapidly as he learned the truth about his fellow counselor. "Dravenok of the Krell Empire," Vex Thor announced, his voice heavy with authority. "You are relieved of your council position, pending investigation for crimes against the council and its members." "You can't do this," Dravenok snarled. "The Krell Empire will not stand for this insult." "It seems the Empire may not stand with you either," Alan said quietly, showing his tablet. On it was a live feed from the Krell fleet, where Commander Vraktor was ordering his ships to power down weapons. Dravenok's face twisted with rage. He lunged toward Alan, claws extended. But Major Porter was faster, stepping between them and blocking the attack with practiced ease. Security officers quickly surrounded Dravenok, restraining him as he continued to shout threats. Vex Thor approached Ambassador Wright. "It seems we have underestimated humanity," he said softly. "A mistake we will not make again." In Earth space, Admiral Daniels watched as the Krell ships powered down one by one. Commander Vraktor's face reappeared on her screen. "Admiral," he said stiffly, "I request temporary asylum while we sort out this situation within our chain of command." Lisa allowed herself a small smile. "Granted, Commander. Welcome to Earth space, this time as a guest." 2 weeks after Dravenok's arrest, the Krell homeworld of Dravaxis was in turmoil. Massive protests filled the streets of every major city. The evidence Lieutenant Mason had planted revealed not just Dravenok's crimes, but decades of corruption throughout the Krell government. Commander Vraktor, still in Earth orbit with his fleet, watched the news feeds from home with mixed emotions. "My people are suffering," he said to Admiral Daniels during one of their now regular meetings. "Revolution is always painful," Lisa replied, "but sometimes necessary." The commander nodded slowly. "For centuries, we believed we were the strongest, the most advanced. Our leaders told us we deserved to rule. Now we see they were lying to maintain their own power." On the council station, a special session was called. The human delegation entered the chamber to find every seat filled. Ambassador Alan Wright took his place at the speaker's position, looking out at the assembled representatives. 3 weeks ago, he began, humanity was threatened by a council member who saw us as weak and primitive. Today, I stand before you to formally accept Earth's invitation to join the Galactic Council as a full member. Applause echoed through the chamber. Even species that had initially been wary of humans now showed their support. High Counselor Vex Thor rose from his seat. The Council acknowledges Earth as our newest member world. Ambassador Wright, please accept this medallion as a symbol of your world's new status. As Alan received the medallion, Dr. Martinez leaned toward Captain Reeves. Did you ever imagine it would end like this when we first set out? Samantha smiled. Not exactly. But I always knew humans would find their place among the stars. Major Porter nodded in agreement. The Krell made a classic mistake. They assumed technological advancement follows a single path. They couldn't imagine we might have developed in different directions. Lieutenant Eric Mason had finally returned to Earth, his mission complete. Though he avoided the public ceremonies, Admiral Daniels made sure he received proper recognition in private. Now he stood in her office, receiving a new assignment. The Council has requested human assistance in verifying the dismantling of the illegal weapons on Dravaxis. Lisa told him, given your familiarity with the facility, you're the logical choice to lead the team. Eric nodded. And the Krell have agreed to this. The new provisional government has. They're eager to show their commitment to reform. Lisa smiled. It seems your evidence did more than expose Dravenok. It started a revolution. On Dravaxis, the provisional government was working to rebuild trust with the Council. The weapons facility was being converted to peaceful research under international supervision. Dravenok and his closest allies waited in prison for their trials to begin. An ordinary Krell citizen named Kravtol stood in the former central plaza of the Imperial Palace, now renamed Freedom Square. His young daughter perched on his shoulders to see the human delegation arriving for the cooperation ceremony. Father, are the humans really as dangerous as they say? She asked. Kravtol thought carefully before answering. They are dangerous, but not in the way our old leaders claimed. They are dangerous because they think differently. They find unusual solutions. They don't give up. He watched as Ambassador Wright stepped off the shuttle. But they are also fair. They could have destroyed our fleet, but they chose to talk instead. His daughter considered this. Will I ever see Earth? Perhaps. They are opening their universities to Krell students. If you study hard, you might go there someday. Back on the Council station, the official ceremony had concluded. The human delegation gathered in their quarters to celebrate privately. Alan raised a glass in toast. To humanity's place among the stars, he said. And to lessons learned, added Samantha. Never underestimate a species just because they're new to the galactic stage. In his private chamber, High Counselor Vexthor was meeting with the Council's eldest member, a being so ancient his species was nearly forgotten. They watched the celebration through the security feed. You were right to invite them, the Ancient One said quietly. They will bring much-needed change to our stagnant politics. Vexthor nodded. When we sent that first message to Earth, I thought we were inviting a new student to learn from us. The elder's eyes twinkled with amusement. Instead, we found a teacher. And across the stars, on distant Dravaxis, the planet continued its painful transformation, a direct result of one counselor's fateful decision to threaten a species he should have respected.